Trio's back in town, baby. Yeah. So I still screwed up the beginning song. Honestly, I thought my math was good, but I forgot high school math was close to 15 years ago at this point. Boy.
I
can't relate. I was a physics minor, so I'm very good at math.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is another episode of Best of Five. I'm here joined for the last time. For the final time. By the Steve Ace King offsuit jerk, the main squeeze. How's it going, Steve?
How's everybody going?
We're stealing that.
We love you, Steve.
We gotta pay homage to those who came before us.
Very true. And special guest, my favorite person and yours, the grappler hater, the content maker, the purple Sharpie. How's that for an intro?
I play multiverses now.
Yes.
You play multiverses? You commentate multiverses? You play Skullgirls? You commentate Skullgirls?
I no longer commentate Skullgirls.
Mm-hmm. Steve, were you not watching?
You retired. You retired too.
Yeah, she retired from Skullgirls.
EVO was my very last event commentating Skullgirls.
And it was good.
I announced it at the end of top 8. Yep.
Yeah.
It was
Wait, what are you retiring from, Milan? You got to complete the trilogy here.
Math.
Oh, man.
It's a good one, Elon.
All right, tonight on the show, we're going to talk about EVO, of course. I was there. Steve was also there. Sharpie was also there.
No, I wasn't. I literally hired a body double. I don't know why people keep saying I was there. She said as she wore her EVO wristband that she forgot to take off before the podcast. Dang, that bit would have worked. That bit would have worked.
Those are just like, those are the same kind the combo breaker had, and like, there's like this whole secret to getting them off if you use a straw, and I'm not.
So I think the combo breaker one was just like a regular wristband, right? It was like one of those like paper ones.
No, it was the same sort of fabric-y.
Yeah, because either way, we got a lot to talk about. So Olsen in the chat is saying the lady didn't tighten his. They literally just gave me them, and they were like, "Here, don't put it on too tight, or else your wrist is gonna break." And it was up to me to put it on, and I didn't hurt myself, so that's a win. But before we even get to our last main squeeze Ace King offsuit recap, before we get to that, I want to share some thoughts. Sharpie, if you have some thoughts about EVO, I would love it for you to share them here, if you would like.
Sure.
But there's one thing I wanted to say that has been in the back of my mind since I left EVO. Which, by the way, I didn't expect this to happen, but I had a really hard time keeping it together flying back. I already miss EVO. And when I was at EVO, I was like, man, I just want to go home. After EVO happened, I was like, I don't want to go home. So here's the sitch. It felt like for the last couple of years, pre-pandemic, EVO kind of held the FGC hostage in a way where EVO was the biggest tournament of the year. However, the experience of EVO wasn't all that great, right? Like there was a lot of issues either with leadership, or there was a lot of issues with decision making from leadership, or issues with a bunch of other stuff. This being the first year that new leadership has taken over, I feel like a lot of the issues that were very prevalent in EVO in years past have either disappeared completely or are getting fixed. And it feels good to have the biggest fighting game tournament of the year be one that everybody is looking forward to going to and participating in.
For sure.
Right? Like, am I alone in that?
No, you're not.
Good.
You know, it's interesting too, because I consider the general manager of EVO to be like a mentor of sorts for me. And obviously my fiance, like he's provided a lot of opportunities for my community, Skullgirls, and also for myself and my fiance inside of the FGC. And so when I felt a little bit discouraged just because the announcement for the commentators for EVO was taking a little bit longer than I wanted. Like, he assured me that it was going to be worth it, you know? And I feel as though actually getting to EVO and physically, like, to be candid, I only had like 2 hours of free time in between my pools that I had to commentate and then top 8. They had me working a total of like, what? I think I did five commentary slots on Saturday, 4 commentary slots on Friday. And then I had like 3 scheduled meetings, a minimum of an hour on Thursday after I got in. So I was like working literally all day up until like Sunday. And it wasn't until I first got in and started doing like meetings and stuff that I realized how much time and how much energy had gone into making sure that both, I want to say, like the convention side of EVO and the tournament side of EVO, which prior to this year, even though I've only been there once, I was there back in, I believe, 2019. It felt much more balanced. It felt like there was always something to do when I did have time. I found myself being pulled away multiple times from like when I was walking through the venue to want to see something and wishing I had literally even 10 more minutes just to go spend right there with a certain art vendor that I saw, or a new exhibitor that I saw, or like a new setup, or take a picture with a cosplayer, any of that. Like, there were so many things to do at the event. And I felt like it was a very much so a more well-rounded event than when I first went back in 2019. And I 100% feel like that is nobody but management and the new organization structure that EVO has now. So I really do want to give them kudos, because even if it didn't go perfectly, which no event does, I really want to stress that. There were obviously some hiccups there, like here and there. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. But the reality is that event for me was 15 out of 10 all the way through, especially for the way that I saw EVO back in 2019. This event is so much more realized. And my only complaint is that they worked me. They worked me like a dog. I had no free time. I wish I could have experienced the event and shared more of it with you all at home. But, you know, maybe next year, huh? And honestly, I just got a DM from somebody randomly, a Pokemon producer, who's now like, hey, do you want to play Pokemon, or like the trading card, or the video game? By the way, my emails have been like filled as soon as I finished Multiversus Top 8.
Good.
I'm not even joking, I've gotten 39 different emails since I finished Multiversus Top 8. That's not spam email. Like, I've gotten a lot of spam email, but like email from people that actively want to hire me for a job starting like next month.
Good. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you.
I did not get to watch any of your Multiversus commentary because I was all focused on main stage stuff, but I did watch Top 8 of Skullgirls. I caught a little bit of pools as Skullgirls. You killed it. You were awesome. Everyone on commentary was awesome this weekend.
Word.
Most importantly, I want to ask both of you all, because Steve, I know you watched Skullgirls Top 8. Elon, I don't know if you did, but did you all happen to see? You did? Oh, did you all happen to see EVO Moment 610?
Wait.
Which
At
one
the start
was
of
that?
Top 8? Which one? Oh, man.
Oh, I think I missed so here's what happened with Top 8 Skullgirls. I went back to my room because my sedentary, shitty body could not handle standing. So I missed the first couple of matches. So, okay. What is EVO Moment 610?
Well, Elon, I'm so happy that you asked, because I'm going to be posting a link real quick inside of the chat, and hopefully your editor later, the very talented editor that we all pay lots of money and insane numbers of riches to, will hopefully be able to just plaster this moment here. But in the interim, I'm certain you'll be able to manage exclusively either watching it yourself or just showcasing it, right? So I just went ahead and posted it inside of the little chat we have here.
Sure.
Oh, our chat.
Yep, our chat. Our very private chat where we talk about our very intimate feelings. But I'll give a little bit of precursor to this.
Oh, that one.
610.
That one.
Yeah,
one.
Steve, you saw it.
That one.
Steve, you saw it live, yeah.
Yes.
But EVO Moment 610 is one of the most precious moments that will ever happen, I believe, in Skullgirls history. 610, of course, is a meme from Skullgirls copy pasta on Twitch, where 6 is someone messing up the special character, showing the above message, and 10 is a meme that only came about because a member of the community wanted that to be a meme. So EVO moment 610 is the culmination of both Skullgirls getting into EVO and a famous member of the Skullgirls community interacting with the community in a very unique and special way.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
You almost
Wait.
got it. This was one of those moments that just, like, I thought it was going to happen, and then I saw it, and it just exceeded my expectations.
I'm so happy about that. Honestly, Steve, being present for that moment, I'll dissect it very briefly, and then we'll get into the. Well, obviously, I'll allow Elon to go into the very next part, but I did want to make sure that I give you all the behind the scenes look on this moment.
Here it is.
We have arrived at EVO 2022 and you are about to watch Skullgirls Top 8. Hell, we even got a reveal of a new character. How'd you feel about that?
You know, Kai, new character, new game, new me.
New Sharpie man, oh man. We have
The
arrived
wig
at EVO 20.
done got snatched.
Such a good moment.
Oh my goodness. That
Now-
was
A+.
one of the many great moments I saw this weekend. I was, even though I was there on Thursday night for the preview, I had to fly back immediately. So everything I experienced through EVO was as a stream monster. And while the experience for those who attended was far higher than than I've heard in previous years, from a viewer standpoint, it wasn't necessarily the case. And the big reason for that was advertisements.
Yes.
Obviously with an event the size, scope, cost of EVO, you need sponsors to make that work, and sponsors do expect a return on investment. We saw that in full force, and a lot of ways, unfortunately, as we went through. Like the first thing I said in like our Best of 5 Discord chat after the conclusion of Top 8 of Skullgirls, as great as it was, so it's like, man, that took 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Skullgirls Top 8 never takes 3 hours. And then we went through the next day. MK Top 8 was legitimately 4 hours. They blocked out 4 hours. I thought it was going to be like, this is just our buffer. There was no buffer after that. They were actually a half hour behind.
Yep.
I went ahead and added up. I counted all the time that each Top 8 lasted, as well as the ad time, the amount of time of ads aired during those Top 8s. And I know you've got that graphic, Elon.
I sure do.
Yeah, so when I talk about runtime, I'm not including like the award ceremony. I'm not including the intro. I'm not including the like announcements or anything. It is simply when you see this graphic, it's simply the start of the round of the first match of Top 8 to the last hit of the final match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Skullgirls was over 2.5 hours just by that metric alone, even excluding the other stuff. MK, I've got that backwards, unfortunately. I've got Melty and MK flipped. MK was legitimately 3 hours, 54 minutes. And in that, there was 42 minutes plus of ads. And while I think a lot of people understand that ads are a necessary evil when you're talking about an event the size and the scope of an EVO or another big tournament, when you're talking about 42 minutes inside of a period that's already going 4 hours, for a lot of viewers, that went beyond the breaking point. Now, once we got to Sunday's finals, they did change the approach. They used shorter ad breaks. So on average, there was a little less time in terms of or significantly less time in terms of ads, and those breaks were shorter, but still for a lot of people, it was the big talking point of the weekend. And it got to it was something that Rick, the GM of EVO, did come up and say, that's something we're working on for Sunday. Presumably, that's going to be something they're working on going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be a very deep conversation that we probably won't go into about how much what that bulking point is for viewers.
Mm-hmm.
It like historically with EVO, it's been the flip. Viewers love the experience. All they think about is the reveals, the action, all of that. Attendees, it wasn't necessarily the best experience. 2022, it seems like that perception is flipped around. It's going to be something interesting to see going forward in 2023, and not just EVO, but EVO Japan, which we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think one of my biggest gripes with how tournament streams are like the very frequent ad breaks. So it's a shame that this kind of took the opposite direction that I wanted it to take. However, it's tough, man. It's hard out here, streaming and broadcasting and doing all this stuff, right? Especially with how Twitch's ad integration has changed just this year.
Yeah.
And to that point, if you were subscribed to EVO, you saw a lot of Blast from the Past,
Mm-hmm.
those little segments. If you saw those segments and you were subscribed, that was just something to watch during the break. Because if you weren't subscribed during that time period, you were getting Twitch ad roll.
Yep.
So they did that to make sure. They did that to make sure that you weren't just getting a "We'll be right back" screen.
Yeah.
But still, that's like, some of the breaks during MK were like 12, 13 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Like both Saturday and Sunday night, it went past midnight local time, which is after 2 a.m. for me. And, I love fighting games. My old ass body cannot handle that much love. I'm sorry.
Yo, Steve, you're kind of preaching. I mean, I was doing commentary first. My very first block every single day was always was at 10 a.m. Friday, Saturday. I was like literally on the mic the entire time. And one of the only differences that I saw in me commentating top 8 and me commentating pools was during pools, every single 2 matches there was an ad break.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of at first I thought it was just out of respect to me because I look flustered, and I was like, well, production, we don't got to do that. You're like, no, we're required to do these advertisement breaks. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that I'm getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Very thank you sponsors. Love y'all so much. Fresh Cut, appreciate you. But I understand how that viewing experience could be very difficult because as someone who had to then go through a bunch of VODs and tell my content team exactly what streams and what points I wanted to post and promote, I can 100% see how much of it was ads. And it was also somewhat disheartening because when I went to go watch parties to see the reaction to EVO Moment 610, very frequently people skipped through it just because it was at the start of an ad break. It was like literally right after an ad break. So people just went straight to the gameplay instead of just watching all the way through. It felt like there were a lot of organic moments that were missed because viewers were like, well, I'll just come back at the end of the ad break and watch a different stream. Which, I mean, more power to them. It sucks a little bit from the production side, especially for people who are planning things in production,
Yeah. No, I think this is one of those things where this is a new problem, right? Because it's not just ads of sponsors at the event. Now it's adding Twitch ads on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's a contractual thing. Or the other thing too is the way Twitch has been going about ads, which I personally hate, but I kind of also understand because at the end of the day, you got to make your money, right? You got to get that bag. Is what was it? Oh yeah. So the way the ads work on Twitch now for everybody, with very few exceptions, unless you have like a specific contract or anything like that, is you're either forcing everybody to watch pre-rolls, or which is unfortunately that's what we do. We force people to watch pre-rolls because I don't have the wherewithal to stop the show every hour to play ad breaks. So it's either pre-rolls or you play, I think it's like 3 minutes or 3 minutes of ads every 45 minutes or something like that. It's like a sliding scale. It's crazy. And if you play them that way, then you don't get pre-roll ads. But if you don't play them that way, then you do get pre-roll ads. So it's a bad experience all around.
Sometimes you get pre-roll regardless,
Yes.
honestly.
Yep.
Because like certain affiliates don't get that. That's only for partnered channels.
Mm-hmm.
So like my channel, twitch.tv/thepurplesharpie, still not partnered. I get both. And I don't even get most of that advertisement money. I get like, I think like a penny to the dollar that every partner makes on it, which is like silly.
Yeah.
That's
And-
why
yeah.
till as much as I can, I will never run ads during this show. Even though when we did have a contract with Twitch, we were supposed to, but whoops, I forgot.
Well, we ran it during the show.
Like twice.
We did run. No, we did run it during the show. Just
At the end.
we count the countdown is part of the show.
Yep.
That's a vital part.
That is true.
My whole thing with Twitch ads has always been this as a creative person. If Twitch allowed me to make my own ads for advertisers, I would run them natively in the show without any issue whatsoever. I would get up, use the restroom, run ads. It would be my face advertising the product that Twitch wanted me to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let us do that.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating because I would 100% make sponsored content if I knew that it was going to be my face on front of it for my audience.
Yeah.
But I do not want Hungry Box over here selling me on cup of ramen.
Yep. Or what was the one that was like I remember there was a huge backlash over, I think it was in 2016, 2017, maybe it was 2018, where ads on Twitch were Ninja advertising his stream for New Year's or something like that.
Yeah.
So
but
luckily
Ninja just
they
gets
haven't
everything on here.
Luckily they haven't done a lot of that since then. So
That's
hooray.
true.
But yeah, it's unfortunate, but I have faith in the EVO team that they'll find the balance to hopefully make it a better viewing experience for everybody.
And we've talked a lot about the Twitch ads, but it's also that 5-minute block of ads that is folded right into the stream.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I'm very interested to see how that is addressed for 2023.
Absolutely. Now,
Oh,
those are our thoughts about EVO. Shall we get to the brass tacks of EVO?
Oh, can I just say really quickly?
Go for it.
I want to thank Romanova. That's the person who provided me the wig for Evo Moment 610. And Hanzo Gonzo, you can't see him because he's not on camera, but there was concern that if I tossed my wig, it would hit the camera. And so Hanzo actually came back during Skullgirls Top 8 to catch that wig for me.
Hell yeah. Dude,
So when I'm throwing it at Hanzo. And I just want to say thank you to the both of them for that.
Dude, first of all, Romanova is also I think she's the community manager at Bandai Namco now. So
She is. She literally woke up early despite getting in super late on Thursday night, woke up early, even tweeted out asking people where I was because I was on commentary at the time to come find me, brought me all of the wigs, showed me how to apply them and everything like that.
Awesome.
Literally the day of Top 8. So that morning, so like both of them, that was just community members helping community members. And it was I would not be able to have done that moment if they weren't there for me.
Oh yeah. And also I do want to shout out Hanzo because Hanzo is like the secret hero of the FGC. He caught the wig. He was the one that saved the table from breaking when Tasty Steve was shaking down Rip because the table was about to fall. Hanzo dove in there and caught the table. Hanzo also has been working in the back behind the camera for a ton of productions. I remember when I commentated DreamHack 2018 for Tekken, it was him and Spencer Chung working the ones and twos. So big ups to Hanzo. I did say hi to him. He doesn't know who I am, but I said hi anyway. Speaking
Hanzo
of
doesn't know who I am either, I swear to God.
Speaking of saying hi, Jay Wong,
Hello.
thank you for the big raid. Everybody from Jay Wong's stream, welcome. This is Best of 5. It is your weekly FGC talk show where we talk about the FGC and everything happening. So right now we're talking about EVO. Hope you guys had a good stream. Justin, thank you again for the raid. I appreciate you. It was cool. I said hi to Justin as well. I was like, yo, Justin, what's up? And he was like, hey, what's up? And then we both had to run and do whatever we were doing.
And make sure you check out Triple KO, which is a podcast that Justin Wong is on along with Matt McMuscles and Maximilian Dude. And YouTube.com/Triple KO.
And they had a very
you were
special
just
guest.
on there.
And I was going to save it as a surprise.
Are you sure?
I'm sorry.
Look, you're going to have to go find out. The Triple KO podcast, after we're done here, go check them out. There is a special guest in there that I believe everybody that's in here is going to want to watch, but I cannot confirm nor deny who it is.
It's me.
Spoilers.
I'm sorry, everybody. It's me.
It's all
I
good.
talk about independent games. They're fantastic. I think I was the very first guest on the show. Shout outs to Justin, Matt, and Max for inviting me on there. It was very cathartic, and it was fantastic to be a part of them. And I really hope you all support the FGC creators that are supporting the next generation of the FGC.
Oh, yeah.
But, yo, don't we got some EVO results or something, Steve?
We do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special one. For those of you just joining us that don't know us very well, Steve, this dashing young gentleman over here, became a father as of last week. Last week? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Man, time flies. And because of that, Steve unfortunately has to step away from his duties here on the show and on the FGC. So you're here at a very special moment because, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the final official Steve's Got the Deets You Need weekly recap. I wish I still had that image saved, but I unfortunately don't.
I'm going to try really hard not to cry, but I don't promise anything.
I think
there's no promises on tonight's show.
My goal is to make Steve cry because crying is great. Now, Steve, for the last time, say the words.
Let's hit that recap. And of course, this recap is.
Damn it. I fucked it up. Wait. All right, hold on.
You want to take it again?
We're done.
All right, hold on. Wait.
That was
that's
the
the wrong
sell
one.
ya.
All right.
That was the sell ya. One per episode.
Ooh.
Okay, it wouldn't be an
Oh,
episode
man.
without a screw up.
Sure.
It's
sure
not an
are
editing
glad that
nightmare,
we
Olsen.
tested that.
It's not an editing
sure am
nightmare,
glad we
you got
laughed
it.
it out.
No, look, it's fine. We got it. Steve, do the thing again. It never. Yeah.
Let's hit that recap. And of course, it was all about EVO, not the runtimes, but the results. Let's start with Skullgirls, shall we?
We absolutely shall, Steve.
We are going to start with
That's
Skullgirls.
the wrong one.
That's
oh my God,
the wrong
I'm falling apart.
Skullgirls.
I'm
There we
emotionally
go.
distraught.
It's okay. It's an emotional night for everyone involved. Top three was the three you'd expect, maybe not the order you expected. Sonic Fox knocking off their buddy, this Kill Sage in the grand final. Sorry about that. Pen, the combo breaker champion, finishing third after losing twice to the Kill Sage. An impressive performance, and beat Sonic Fox in the first set of Grand Finals 3-0. It looked for a while like the Kill Sage was going to take it all the way, but Sonic Fox ends up bringing home yet another EVO trophy. We kick it over to Saturday's finals. It was Mortal Kombat that started the day, and it was one of the Chilean twins who got the win, this time Scorpion Prox, becoming the first player from outside the U.S. to win an NRS EVO title, knocking off Rewind, who had a hell of a run to get to the grand final, including a win over Chile's Nicholas. Very international top 8 because you also had Foxy Grandpa and Killer Shinnok. So half of that top 8 in a game that a lot of people just assume is American dominated. Half the people in the top 8 coming from outside the U.S. That was awesome to see. Moving over to Melty Blood, it was another impressive foreign performance. This one from Japan's Jing, who knocked off Masoma in the grand final. Masoma again resetting things, but not quite able to knock off Jing. Kiri and Scrot rounding out the top 4 there. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus was next, and it was an all-Japan top 4. Totoro getting the win over Gamera in the grand final. Taco, who had no plans to come to EVO before winning the FGC Arcade tournament that got him a ticket here, rounding out the podium. Dragoy from Spain finishing tied for 5th and winning some friends along the way with his performance at top 8. And then we close Saturday night with Dragon Ball Fighters. This was the first event on the DBFZ World Tour for 2022, and it was the defending world champion, Wawa, held on for dear life over Nitro. Nitro had a heck of a run through the losers bracket, including going up 2-0 in the grand final. Actually, Nitro came from winners. I apologize. Nitro was up 2-0, one game away, but Wawa fought it all the way back to 3-2 and then won the reset 3-1 to claim the title. Nitro, hell of a performance, sitting on top the U.S. leaderboard in points. So still a pretty good haul for him. And then we go to the arena. Sunday, it's a Taiwanese podium to kick things off. ZJZ following up his KOF 14 title at EVO Japan 18 with a win over fellow countryman and fellow Brook teammate ET. Xiao Hei rounding out the podium there. An all-international affair in that top 8. You had Korea represented, Mexico, Japan as well. No U.S. player, unfortunately, for those from the host nation. The same could be said about the next game, Tekken 7. The Master Prime event on the Tekken World Tour was won by the legend Knee. Knee taking it after so many close calls. It was his 4th time making top 3 at EVO in Tekken 7 at least. First time bringing home the trophy. Knocking off a Pakistani player in the grand final, but not necessarily the one you'd expect. Khan, incredible performance from him, finishing 2nd. Arslan Ash finishing 3rd behind his Fate teammate. Then we go to Street Fighter V in what will likely be the swan song for that game at the EVO stage. And what a grand final it was between Idam and Kawano. Idam knocked into losers bracket by Ryan Hart in top 192. First match at top 192. Got all the way to grand final. One of the most incredible runs you'll ever see. Kawano fought back, fought off like 3 tournament points, held his nerve, and got the win, taking home the EVO title. Idam 2nd, Gachi-kun 3rd, Tokido rounding out the top 4, but Daigo for the first time since I believe 2011 making top 8 at EVO. So the guy still got it. And we close things off, at least on the main stage, with Guilty Gear Strive. A relatively new player in terms of the scene, but definitely showing what they've got. Umi Show amazing performance to win the grand final and the Guilty Gear Strive title, knocking off, as you might expect to see in a grand final, a Saudi player, not necessarily the Saudi player you expected. Slash, amazing run to make it to top 3, to make grand final. Leffen as well, making top 3 in both a traditional fighter and a platform fighter at EVO. First person to ever do that. Latif, who was the heavy favorite, finished 9th. But still, you could argue that he's the best player on the planet. You forget about the mirror match. There are many other tournaments at EVO. I just want to point out a couple. Multiverses with the $100,000 prize pool. It was Nakat and Boyd who got the win there over Miraman and Rose J. Those two teams have fought in quite a few tournaments in the young life of that game. But it was Nakat and Boyd who got the $10,000 first prize. But everyone in top 32 making some money, so that is awesome to see. And of course, Vortex Gallery, 50-plus tournaments. Masoma is the winner of the biggest one, DNF Duel, holding off Scott Vermillion in the grand final. GC Yoshi rounding out the podium there. We've got the results on screen coming up of all the other ones. I want to call out Blue in the chat, helps out with the show, runs Anime FGC News on Twitter, getting the win in Phantom Breaker Omnia. Congratulations, Blue, holding it down. Even though you didn't put up the BOV tag, we still see you.
Hey, Blue got the big tournament. Right, that's the game.
It was very spicy. On the other screen, you've got more tournament winners. Choi Boy getting the double in Alpha 2 and Alpha 3. Brent is cool, a name you might not have heard of for a while. Doing the double dip as well, winning both Street Fighter Cross Tekken and Ultra Street Fighter 4. So, congratulations to everyone you see on screen. It was an amazing, amazing weekend of action. Plenty to go back and check out. Many of the VODs are on YouTube already. All of the Twitch, or the main stage ones, are on the EVO 2K Vids channel. Vortex Gallery uploading them as we speak for the other tournaments. So, for the last time, that was your weekend recap. Whew.
We did it. I outroed correctly. I did something right on your going away show.
Oh,
Steve, this is kind of a moment that I just like to say thank you. Back when I first started watching BestofVShow about like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the cast was immensely different, but you were here with your recaps. You've always been someone inside of the fighting game community. The very first time I ever physically saw you at Combo Breaker, I know you may not remember, I recognized you. You didn't know who I was. That's not weird because I wasn't really a big name or anything, but you still took time to say hi to me. You shook my hand. You asked me how I felt about the podcast. I told you I really liked your bits and I really liked your little emote face on there. I liked the fact that you talk shit to Elon, all the time.
You know what? That you don't have to thank me for that.
I appreciate everything you've done inside this community, and I appreciate the opportunity you gave me to come on here and tell my side of the story of things that were happening inside of my community, things that happened to newer people inside the fighting game community, things that happened to people who were queer or femme or non-binary inside this community. It means a lot, and I know that there are a lot of people right now who want nothing more than just to say thank you, Steve, for bringing us the recap of not just the tournaments, but also of our lives.
I appreciate that so much. Look, I know, I wasn't even the first one to do recaps on the show. If you remember the early days of Best of 3, Radical Ray Chun. Like Ray, you walk so that I could run. Thank you. But yeah, you talk about thanking me for giving you an opportunity. You have done so much. You have taken the ball and you have run far farther. I don't know if that's good English. Much farther than I could ever carry it. And I know that there are going to be people coming up who see what you do and will take that ball even further. And, that's, as long as I do that, we're here because we love fighting games.
Yep.
And, if we can spark that in other people, it's, I feel like I've done my job. But, we're not crying yet. We're not crying yet. That's
I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to, Steve. I swear to God, I'm trying not to.
Okay.
I know we've got a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so I was going to say, Sharpie, then let me be the first to make you slightly upset, but also happy for this next segment. That will make you stop crying. So, we've had a ton of pizza bets going into EVO. Sharpie, you were entered into a pizza bet unknowingly, and that's my fault. Lucky for you, you won. So,
Yo,
So
I'm
I'm sending you a
excited for the
pizza.
7 slices of pizza you already owe me.
it's coming. They're coming. I owe like 7 people pizzas after this. That's how badly I lost, but also won.
So let's peel back the curtain a little bit.
Yes.
The initial plan for the EVO show was to do something similar to we did at Combo Breaker. Was get in on the floor, bring in a few guests to talk about the various games, the various things to look forward to. Unfortunately, we didn't get the clearance to bring guests on. So we had to scramble along last minute. And the idea we settled on was to assemble a secret panel of experts to make their picks for Combo Breaker, or for EVO, excuse me. And talk and pepper that in as we discussed who we expected to win. And our panel was really damn good.
I cannot believe we got some of these names to be part of this panel. It's pretty crazy.
Who was on the panel?
So here's the thing: we announced who they picked, but we didn't announce who the panel was. And I think it's time for us to announce who the panel was. And everybody that guessed correctly is getting pizza from me.
Nice.
So, without further ado, here is the super secret panel.
Woohoo.
Skullgirl's second encore was quote unquote the purple Sharpie. Sharpie and I, so full disclosure, Sharpie and I had like a 2-hour conversation the day before I left for EVO, and I forgot to ask. So I just assumed you would pick Sonic Fox. That's my bad.
And that's why I asked, like, did you were gonna predict Sonic Fox, right? Like, no, I was gonna predict Pen Pen.
Yeah, I definitely would have picked Pen Pen. Sonic, almost nobody inside the Skullgirls community would pick Sonic because Sonic has not been playing that game for like the last 2 years now, like competitively.
I picked Pen Pen.
Yeah, Pen Pen. Yeah, Pen Pen's a really strong player, but you know what I'm happy about? The fact that I'm literally bankrupting Elon for pizza.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll make
You're
it all
not
work.
the only one.
I'll just take out another credit card. It's cool. For Melty Blood type Lumina, we got, check this shit out, Makoto Fox, who picked Jing, and of course Jing got first. Mortal Kombat 11, the one and only Katana Prime, picked Scorpion Prime. Go ahead.
They
Steve.
did during top 8. They asked me is either during top 8 or right before top 8. Katana Prime, I'm going to put you on blast. DM me and ask if they could change to Sonic Fox. And I said, no, it's already on the air. It's already shown. We're locked in.
Oh, that's funny.
Not you putting us both on blast. That's crazy because we actually both know Sonic personally. Literally, we both consider Sonic like family. So like to Sonic, KP is like their brother. And I'm like their sister. So the fact that neither of us picked Sonic Fox is actually a huge blow up.
Oh, but Sharpie,
I hope
you did pick
this. I
Sonic
hope
Fox.
this isn't public.
No,
but
it'd only
Sharpie-
be public if we put it on
Nobody tag
screen.
them. I'm not trying to have Sonic unfollow me because I picked Pen.
Like you could get it back because you bought one of the special edition plushies, right?
I bought 3 of them. Yeah.
Hell
But
yeah.
everybody in chat was already blowing me up, and everybody in the YouTube comment, people that don't even play Skullgirls, was blowing me up because they're like, "Look at how biased these commentators are. They're totally rooting against Pen and Sonic Fox. Who does that?" And I'm like, "Well, if you watch this game, you would know that Sage is the underdog." Like, I was hoping that Sage would defeat Pen and Sonic, but I didn't know if he could. And so I was like, oh, Pen's the safe choice. And then Pen loses to Sage. And I'm just
Well, look,
sorry,
because of
Future
a
Steve.
it's like
Not my problem anymore.
it's because it's like Monopoly, right? Like you got the chance card. It's like bank error in your favor. So you picked Sonic Fox, as far as I'm concerned.
It's like
Congratulations.
Monopoly, but the very next time I'm at an event, Sonic's like, hey, Sharpie, fuck you. It's exactly like Monopoly.
All right, let me blow up. Well, I can't blow them up because they all picked top 3. But Ebonic play, we got Ebonic to double dip. They picked Gamera for Grand Blue, Umisho for Guilty Gear Strive. Nailed both picks. Damascus, we reached out to him. He picked Wawa for DBFC. Ended up working out. ZJZ was the pick of Hell Pockets. That ended up working out. Rixta went with Arslan Ash. Not a bad pick. The worst one on screen, though, finishing third. And then Ultra David picked IDOM, and oh man, that was one round away from being right multiple times.
So that is our secret panel, and I owe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pizzas. 2 to Ebonic Plague. Maybe I'll try to get away with just sending them one. I'm kidding. I'll send them 2. And 1 to Sharpie. So Sharpie, congratulations. You want a pizza?
I'd like to donate my pizza to Sonic Fox so that they don't block me on Twitter.
I'll send you
And
the
say
code.
congratulations on winning EVO. I'm so proud of you.
I'll send you the code for the gift card, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Send it
Play
to whoever you want.
Skullgirls. It's a great game. Currently on sale right now. Play Skullgirls at sharpiepls.com. Also, play Skullgirls Mobile. Brand new character coming out, specifically Marie. Fantastic game. Fantastic
10 years,
game.
right?
Every single penny you put into Skullgirls Mobile helps Skullgirls like an encore.
And 10 years, right? Since Skullgirls came out and Marie was a character, now she's finally playable. Going to be playable.
Been 10 years back in March, yeah.
Wow. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later because we do have a reveal section.
Yeah.
But those weren't the only pizza bets.
No, they
There
were
was
not.
more. And Steve, I'm going to blow you up because, well, actually, it was a lot closer. It was a lot closer than it's been. However, I said I was not going to let you leave the show a winner, and unfortunately, I was right. Once again, you have lost the pick'em battle of pizzas.
You know what?
To me,
you know what? It doesn't matter how good you are at predictions. I am the best prognosticator without a doubt.
you're the best. What?
No one else is even close. Screw the EVO match and GG's.
Okay.
See you after top 8.
Same. Whatever Steve said. I co-sign that. Let's go, Steve.
That tweet, I'm sorry, Latif is a great, almost making top 8 in Strive, made a grand finals in Street Fighter before. Legitimately a great player. But man, that's an all-time great salty tweet. That's just like frame it. And then did you see the voice actor who dubbed it with the Kaiba?
Yes, I did see that.
Ah.
I wish I had it saved. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up right now. However, Steve, let's get down to this. Also, thank you so much, everybody, for following the show. Everybody from Jay Wong's stream, hi. We're Best of Five, your weekly FGC podcast. You can go to www.bestofvshow.com, and you can follow our socials there so you can keep up. Also, Sharpie, before we even get into this, Sharpie, what do you think of the new recap?
I really liked the format. I actually really liked it. I think my only complaint is that it went horribly the first time.
Yep, and the second time.
And the third. And the third. And don't forget it was on the complete wrong slide. But
Yeah,
no,
that's true.
I really enjoyed it. I felt very professional being a part of this.
Steve, I'm not going to pull it up because the last time I pulled up a tweet, my audio died.
Okay, that's fair.
And that makes it even worse for Olsen. So I'm sorry, Olsen, our Best of Five editor. Good luck. I'm kidding. I'm going to help. All right, let's get down to it. So we had a pick'em, Steve and I, and this is how it went. Steve, I'm going to make you read this.
So, it basically, Alon picked winners in the first 5 games. I stand by my picks. Pen was ridiculous.
Yep.
And, was the favorite. Nicholas was the twin that won combo breaker going into this. Ren was one of the favorites. Kane had that match dead to rights. And Scrot was arguably
Scott's a really strong player.
He's best in the U.S. We hadn't really seen U.S. versus Japan offline, so it was just a matter of that. Like, the only bad pick I had was Bombabon, and he's someone who made top 3 in EVO Online Asia last year.
Isn't he also a grappler main? Doesn't he also play Potemkin?
I wasn't going to bring it up, out of respect for current
freaking
company.
knew the worst person on your entire list, Steve, is a Potemkin main. I was literally with you when you picked Scrot and you picked Pen and you picked some of those other players. And I was even going to say Steve actually knows this because look at the underdogs that he got through for Tekken. And then you picked a Potemkin player and expected them to get somewhere in an offline tournament.
You know what?
Grapplers don't perform, Steve. Grapplers lose offline.
You know what? If we're talking about command grabs and getting in, we almost had a grappler win Street Fighter.
But they didn't.
Hair's breadth.
But they
We're
didn't.
hair's breadth.
Thank God.
You know what?
Skill.
We're getting out of that.
It was a
but
skill
yeah,
matchup.
Alon, you won. But we also had some predictions on some of the reveals that were coming, and
Correct.
I won that. So
Yes.
we ended up evening out.
Where's the... Was
But
there a
we
graphic
also
for
had
the reveals?
No,
Okay. Yeah. So anyway.
just trust that I won.
Yeah. No, and you did. And I said this because my picks for reveals were... I think I said we were going to get a full Tekken trailer, not just a teaser. I
Which one's wrong?
mentioned a new Persona, just completely out of left field. Wish I could take that back. I assumed there were going to be dates for Street Fighter 6. And I think
I
don't fully remember, but either way, whatever you said, Steve, was actually what happened. He was like, yeah, there's going to be 2 characters for Street Fighter 5. There's going to be a Tekken teaser. There's going to like something for Dragon Ball. Steve got them all right. So we're tied on pizza, Steve.
Except for my out there, I had one out there one where I was like, we'll get a new NRS game that's not Mortal Kombat. I trolled the troll.
My favorite part about that is we had a discussion about how Ed Boon kind of cornered himself into being like the troll on Twitter, right? Where he says, "Oh, nothing's happening," and then we literally discussed on the show how, "Oh, he's serious this time," and then you still made that pick.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta play with your heart. EXDP on Wake Up.
I didn't trust him either, Steve.
Yeah, true.
But you know what? Maybe you shouldn't listen to us. Maybe you should listen to some of our viewers instead, because we offered up a contest to our viewers as well.
More pizzas I gotta give out.
Yeah. Well, I'm giving away one of them. And we have the results here. Le Dragon is your winner, scoring 695 out of a possible 900, predicting Jing, Gamera, Wawa, ZJZ, and me as winners. Also had IDOM finishing second. So pretty good squad there. 100 points ahead of our second place finisher, Boombox Hero, who is the lucky beneficiary of me running my mouth, because I said, yeah, I'll do 2 pizzas. Or I'll do an extra pizza to make it 2 pizzas.
Game time decisions, man. That adrenaline gets you.
So Le Dragon and Boombox Hero, I will be reaching out to you after the show, and we will get you gift cards to get some pizza on us. So congratulations.
Yep, and I will be paying out all my pizzas starting tomorrow when I get my paycheck, because I cannot right now. Yeah.
Ooh, pizza debts.
Pizza debt. Always pizza debts.
Pizza recession.
Pizza recession. Hopefully there's never such a thing. That sounds awful.
It's never a pizza recession in the Ace King house.
Maybe there'll be a pizza famine in the future.
Surpluses. We got pizza deflation.
We got
let's
pizza
talk about these
surpluses,
reveals.
pizza recessions, pizza reveals.
Pizza reveals. That's a really good one. Thank you, Sharpie. The Segway Master is back.
Man, we had so many. We had so many. It even started before EVO started because TSM added a player to their ranks. And it was Chris CCH, who's been on a pretty nice tear as of late. So congratulations, Chris. Welcome to, you are now teammates with Leffen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the dream in life, I guess.
That's
all I got. Also, Arcade 1UP freed MVC2. So they announced an arcade machine with MVC2. Also, a whole bunch of other games in the Versus series, MVC1, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Children of the Atom is in there. So that no pricing as of yet. Pre-orders will start on September 8th. So be on the lookout for that if you are so inclined.
Or our wireless warrior, because apparently it's only available on Wi-Fi.
Ooh.
Oh, you know,
Rip.
It's
I don't know anybody who's going to be playing MVC2 and is going to be using the online function. You know, like I don't think I know anybody.
If you were playing, if you were waiting for this to play MVC2, I don't think Wi-Fi is going to be the deterrent for you.
I agree.
I think
I agree.
Those who are inclined to play real matches have probably found alternatives already.
Although, Solanero in our chat saying that they confirmed an Ethernet port in the machine.
Why was that not confirmed inside of that message?
Well,
That's all I want. That's all I want to know.
They've got a month before they start taking orders. So
I'll be honest, I didn't even know that was the thing that they didn't have. And I think that's both hilarious and awful.
So
Ethernet ports, baby.
All right, let's get into some of these main reveals that we had during EVO itself. Sharpie.
And it wasn't just my wig.
No.
Though I will say that one did take the night.
That one, yeah. That was the moment of Friday. We also had, right before top 8, the reveal of the final character of the season pass, and it is Marie, 100%. Not 300%. But how do you feel about this one? Now that you've had some time for your wig to be settled in its snatchedness, I don't even know if that's a word. It is now.
Well, Steve, new character. No. This is my hair.
Oh,
I have
man.
nothing underneath. I have
You know,
nothing
there was
underneath
that
this.
slight possibility. Like, oh, that's her hair. But wait, she wouldn't
No,
go
I saw
that far
both of you
for a
all's
bit, would
faces,
she?
and I was like, oh no. No, I do just want to add as an aside that this is the season 1 pass. Hidden Variable and Future Club have not confirmed as to whether or not we may see a season 2 DLC pass for Skullgirls, but I'm excited for Marie. I think she's a very popular character that a lot of people wanted inside of Skullgirls. She already has all of her sprites inside of the game because Marie 300 is a boss character inside of the game that you can already fight. So a lot of people who were a little bit smarter than me and don't know the devs guessed that it was going to be her just because her sprites are already finished. I wouldn't have said it was a very intelligent guess, but like, what do I know? You know, because she got in the game. So congratulations to everyone who really wanted her. There's still some characters that I'd really like to see inside of the game, but ultimately, as I'm not necessarily 100% invested inside of the character roster for Skullgirls any longer, I'm just really happy to see that the game is still getting updates and getting new characters and just moving on the momentum that they've so aptly deserved for such a long time.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Also, how did you feel about that lone Beowulf player making it to top 8?
You know, I actually had thoughts because I had a lot of thoughts. I think his match was the very first, or it was like the third or fourth one that I commentated, and it was really, really late at night. It was like 10 o'clock or something already. It was like 8 or so when we got to his match, which already was like 11 o'clock my time. So I'm already pretty tired. For reference, right now it's 10 o'clock. So I'm like kind of getting up there. But I had been up since 5 a.m. Pacific time. So I was already disgustingly tired. And then I had to commentate a freaking solo Beowulf match with the voice of Kai Kennedy sitting right next to me. Like, hey, do you think Beowulf's gonna win? And I'm just sitting there like, God, I hope not. Like, I really hope not. I watched that player get into top 8. It was sitting there the whole time, like, this solo Beowulf's not really gonna get into top 8, right? And then he did, and he almost beat Lazy.
Well,
what?
I will say this: you hit it very well. You were very professional in your commentary.
When people pay me money, that's what you gonna get. That's what you gonna get. Everybody can come for my commentary any day they want. They can say I repeat words. They can say I'm biased. They can say whatever they want. But what you will not know is my actual thoughts until I have gotten paid. Okay? You will not know what I actually think about that match.
Dude guy almost made it happen. Made top 8 with Solo Beo. Second best in that match. Second best name in top 8 behind, or third best. I'd have to put it behind Lazy Bake Oven and behind Stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a player coming in and you call yourself Stuff, you're on some other stuff. You know you're on some other level that I'm stopping now.
Someone in chat is asking that I dislike the Beowulf because he's a grappler. No, I dislike Beowulf because he doesn't have to play the game. He gets to ignore Undizzy. Solo Beowulf does an obtuse amount of damage, and Undizzy is one of the limiters that allows you to not do an infinite amount of combos inside the game. Solo Beowulf gets to ignore all of that. And before you're like, well, Sharpie, don't you play a solo? Yes, and it doesn't need to be fixed. It's just a Beowulf problem.
Hopefully
So
Because he is a grappler.
we did not get any reveals from NetherRealm. We did get something from WB today in terms of multiverses, saying that their first season is going to start on the 15th. So on Monday, there was some speculation that might be in flux because of the merger that they're going through, but that is going to go forward. But nothing for MK.
Also, I think they also announced that Morty's coming on the 22nd. Second? Okay,
22nd, I believe.
Thanks for
New ranked modes, new skins, new areas. They're like doing, I think it's like a local arcade inside of the game as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
23rd.
23rd
Gotcha.
for Rick and Morty. So that will be
Just Morty.
next Tuesday.
Just Morty.
Excuse me. Going from just Morty to just Melty. Because Melty Blood, not a big reveal on stream. They had a video that, due to time constraints, they could not play, but it did get into some of the battle system changes that are coming very soon to the game. Also, 2 new characters that will be announced later. We did talk about MASH and NecoArc on the preview show.
Mm-hmm.
They are 6 of the season of 8 characters that are coming for free. 2 more later on to look forward to.
Yep. Also, Olsen, our editor / producer, is a big Melty Blood person. They've been playing for a hot minute, and according to him, the Melty patch addressed almost every community concern or every community complaint about the game. So that's a big win for the Melty Blood community. So, hey, more Melty Blood.
I don't expect anything less from French Bread. They've always been really plugged into the community, and I'm really happy that they're not letting their success at EVO change their general approach to how they treat the community in the game. That's good.
You know which community didn't get all of their desires addressed at EVO? Grand Blue. Yeah, I'm sorry. So Grand Blue did get an announcement at EVO during their top 8, and it was for a community league, an online tournament series.
It's online? Oh, that's so disrespectful. Wow.
So it is a tournament. It's a regional tournament. 8 qualifiers in Asia, Europe, and North America, 2 in each little mini region. If you win, you qualify for a regional final. Each regional final has $5,000 of prizing on the line. Unfortunately, many of the fans of Grand Blue were hoping for one magic word, one magic compound word, starts with an R, ends with an Olbeck. They did not get that word.
That's the most disrespectful thing you can do when your consumer wants a better online connection, is give them not even a publisher-based tournament with money, but give them an online tournament for money. That's so rude.
The even
Dragon
crazier,
Ball didn't even do that.
Yeah. I was gonna mention the even crazier part is there was such a huge momentum for rollback, right? Because at the panel, at the SNK panel, they announced Sam Show was getting rollback, so everybody was in an uproar. Then Dragon Ball Fighters announced rollback, and everybody was just losing their mind. And then the last one they were expecting, one of 2 they were expecting. Online tournament. Delay-based online tournament.
That's so unfortunate. The Grand Blue community, I feel so bad from them. Ever since launch, Grand Blue has not had a fair chance inside of this community. And it's so unfortunate because the reality is it probably isn't even performing well enough for the developers to go back and put time into it. The reality is Dragon Ball probably sold well enough that they're able to then put back rollback and do that as an update. Sam Show also had enough time offline to sell, Grand Blue had exactly 2 months after it came out. I think it was actually a month, right? It was a month that it had been out, and then quarantine started. That's so unfortunate. I'm so sorry if your game is Grand Blue. Just know that you deserve a good game. You deserve a community that loves you, and I hope that you're able to get through this regardless of whether or not you getting rollback and online connections.
Yeah, and that's to take nothing away from the fans, because they had a great showing at EVO. They're going to continue playing the game. Rollback doesn't really, it's so important for games going forward.
Yep.
Because now that it's evolved to a point where that is sort of an expectation. That's a bare minimum that players expect you to have. We were just sort of the pandemic really cemented that, and like you said, it came out a month before the pandemic really set in the U.S. So,
you know what's frustrating to me, Steve, before we move on to the next thing, because I know we only have a little bit of time, but what's frustrating to me is literally for 3 years before the pandemic happened, I had been screaming about how important it was to play online. And that's not a secret. I've been saying that I'm only going to play games with good online. Those are the only games I'm personally going to be playing. And if anybody was a betting person, a betting man or a betting woman or a betting anything in between, they would have read that to mean players are starting to change what is important. But for the longest time, companies did not change until money affected their bottom line. And to me, that is incredibly, incredibly upsetting. Because it means that moving forward, the only way that we will ever see real change inside of this community is when money starts affecting these companies' bottom lines. And that's not what it should be. That's not the way the community was built up. The community was built up. We love something, we create something, and then hopefully publishers manage it so that we're able to continue maintaining it. And that is not the system that we live in any longer, right? I think that's what quarantine really cemented, is that up until they were like, oh, now they're forced into this environment. We have nothing here, even though players have been saying this for a year. Killer Instinct, Skullgirls, Power for the Grid, Battle for the Grid. All of these companies, all of these indie companies for years have been doing rollback netcode. It should not have taken a preventable pandemic for Japanese companies to decide that netcode, specifically rollback based netcode, was important. That should not have been necessary at all. I'm very happy that a lot of these companies are now changing, but I just want to say for the record, this should never have had to happen for this change to be standard. It should have always been the standard, and a lot of American-based independent companies have been treating it like the standard for years.
And you got to remember, we'll move on real quick because we can run a little late. I want to respect your time. I don't want this to end. But you got to remember, for a lot of Japanese companies in the Japanese market, there really isn't a concern about performance with delay-based netcode because the country is so much more compact, because there isn't as much disparity in connection speed and connection quality as there is in the U.S. with the vast differences or vast distances that we have to cover.
Because they have a lot better infrastructure than we do.
Well, I mean, they have weak points as well, but you're talking about a country the size of California.
Yep.
It just feels like a lot of these companies, for wanting to appease the American market, actively ignore something that a lot of people said that they wanted for a very long time. Even ignoring my conversations about it. There have been multiple people outside of just myself that have been asking and begging for netcode for years. Chris G, Sayjam, Sonic Fox, just to name 3 off the top of my head right now. And it's a dark mark on a lot of these very large companies that is what had to happen in order for change to be made, despite multiple community members speaking up about it.
You speak of people waiting a long time to get rollback. You know who else has had to wait a long time?
Who?
Fans of Persona. The wait is over. They had announced that they were bringing rollback to the game earlier this year. During EVO, Atlas announced that it's available now. So if you have PS4, you've got the update that you can install for the game, get you rollback. Steam, you have it's an open beta that you can opt into. So you have, if you wanted to play Teddy without the concern of delay netcode, now is your chance. Oh,
I actually did want to play that game, so I'm very happy about this. I did not know that they had rollback. I'm very excited about this. I actually did want to play this game, and I didn't play it because of there was no good online. So
yeah, they announced. So they had a panel, if I'm not mistaken, where they announced it, and then one of the, I think it was either community manager or producer, came out at Sunday Finals, and like as soon as it's really funny, since my wild card guess was a new Persona game. When they came out, I was like, I did it. I guessed right. And like, remember?
And then it was just the beta announcement
for you. Bye. It's like, They got me again.
And then we did get into the Sunday announcements,
Yes.
and it
There's a
kicked
lot.
off with SNK, and SNK came with the 3-hit combo off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into that. Now, some of this was teased during the. There we go.
I fixed it. So it was really if you go to our YouTube channel, I recorded the crowd reaction, which like those videos are doing stupidly well for some reason. It was so funny that like everybody was just kind of silent for this, right? Because nobody knew what to expect after this, and this like the Orochi team had already been announced. So it's super interesting to like just listen to the crowd like just being very like nonchalant about this announcement. And then the other stuff happens. All right, this is a 1 minute 40, or this is a 2 minute trailer, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the good part if that's okay.
Okay.
There we go.
They announced Team 4. This is where the crowd erupted, especially for this part.
Hey, yo!
Oh my dude.
Sam Shaw? Yo! What?
But that's not all.
Oh, that's pretty hype.
Naruto.
Oh, that's pretty freaking hype. Okay.
But that's not all.
Okay.
The one and only.
Darlie Dagger.
Oh, my God, mommy. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Yes, and it's perfectly
That's
fine.
okay. If you didn't, I was going to. But then there's more.
What?
The next season of KOF 15 is coming. And this is where people even lost their minds even more.
Shingo is coming back in the fold.
Kim. It was really funny. Olsen was talking about how he wanted Kim. Olsen got Kim. And crossplay is coming to
Hey,
KOF.
they got crossplay?
Absolutely.
Yo!
Coming 2023, unfortunately. But it's coming. And there you have it. That's the update for the roadmap up until 2023.
Nice. Hey,
One other thing worthy of mentioning is KOF 15 on PC has been plagued with matchmaking issues. Even though the netcode is great, getting matches is awful. Apparently, those have been slightly fixed, and hopefully with the addition of crossplay, those will be gone. So good on SNK.
Exciting.
But if you found out all of this from the trailer, you didn't get a chance to breathe because they played another one right afterwards.
These were all back to back to back. There's more.
Oh my God, that's stressful.
Embrace death? No. Embrace rollback.
Yay!
Yep. Yeah, so this is something they announced at their panel, but they had a full-blown trailer during EVO Finals. And then immediately after that, we got this.
Oh my God.
And I gotta tell you, like, the anticipation in the venue, like, you could cut it with a butter knife.
It's just
This is
all of
where
this
people
back to back to back.
people didn't know what to expect, so they didn't lose it until they saw this next bit.
Hey, yo!
Is greenlit. Everybody lost their mind. It was crazy.
That's huge.
We now officially live in a world where rebooting the Garu series is an official, actual government policy.
Wow.
23 years, I think, since Garu, the first one, came out. So
I actually don't remember ever being like I'm 31 and I don't remember ever being alive and there being like Fatal Fury in my house.
Mhm.
So this is a really big deal.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's huge. I'm so happy SNK decided to bring that back.
Yeah.
There are a lot of new players that'll enjoy that bit of history. That's good.
Yeah, and not to mention, like we were saying, like with the addition of the good rollback, King of Fighters 15 has been received very well. So it's great to see that SNK is doing more. More is never bad. Well, more is good in this instance. Then
Tekken
after KOF,
yeah,
Tekken came,
and they announced a few things.
However, something very interesting, worthy of note, is the nobody showed up on stage. It was Sumichu, who was the host of the arena. By the way, she's great. If you don't know who Sumichu is, she used to do a lot for the GDQ community. Now she's off doing everything else. They're wonderful. So big ups to them. And Sumichu introduced this.
Yeah. Well, they introduced 3 things. It was a 3-piece trailer. Number 1 was that there was a balance patch coming to Tekken very soon.
Unfortunately,
and a lot of people.
I don't have that trailer loaded up. However, something very interesting is the roller coaster of emotions that people went through for that Tekken announcement was very interesting because somebody said the trailer's coming. They're gonna play the trailer. Everybody started everybody started shaking. All of a sudden, we saw the new graphics, and it was like get ready for the next battle or whatever. And people started shaking, and then all of a sudden they announced it was a trailer for Tekken World Tour, and everybody just we
all thought it was Tekken 8. The way they set it up, everyone thought it was Tekken 8. I was there, and I thought I was looking at Tekken 8. They redid the very first ending of Tekken with new graphics, and then they're like, "Are y'all ready for the World Tour?" And Haruda's there with Rip, Steve, and everybody, and I'm just like, I thought it was a new.
Yeah.
So they announced the
World Tour.
They announced the patch. Then they announced the World Tour.
Yes. So, but here's the thing: the way the trailer set it up is new graphics, new Tekken. Here it comes, Tekken World Tour. All right. Then after the Tekken World Tour, they announced something that I don't think anybody was anticipating, and it's a new balance patch for Tekken 7 with balance changes, new mechanics, and that's it. But that's crazy, right? Like, that's the one thing people were not expecting. So there's more coming to Tekken 7. It's crazy. After that, they announced the Tekken World Tour Finals, which is going to take place in Amsterdam in February of next year.
Yes.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yes.
And then this happened.
Yeah, this is
We've
what I
seen
saw.
this before. We've seen this before. Yoink.
Everybody was kind of giggling. It's like, ha ha ha, it's this again. Ha ha ha. Boom.
Yeah.
It's Kazuya. Now, here's the thing. There's been a lot of speculation over what this is, what it means, who, what, where, why, and when. I got you an answer. First of all, I thought it was very bizarre that Harada and Michael Murray did not address the crowd, right? Like, Harada and Michael Murray, like, jumped the commentators, and then they left. But here's what we can glean. There's a lot of information here. Here's what we can glean from this. Let me get back to it. Let's skip to the thing. Now, here's what we can glean from this. First, we can glean that this is Tekken 8 or the next installation of Tekken. Why? Here's how. This is Unreal Engine 5.
How do you know? Because of the lighting?
Not only the lighting, but if we fast forward just a little bit, see the temple, like his temple.
You're right. You're right.
The dithering in the shadow is how Unreal Engine 5 handles lighting.
Did anyone think this wasn't a new Tekken project?
A lot of people were speculating whether it's going to be a remake or something completely different. This is why it's not a remake, and here's why it's a continuation. In Tekken 1, Kazuya did not have the scars on his cheeks. Kazuya did not have the crazy red devil glowing eyes. So this is Tekken 5, or Tekken 8 rather, not Tekken 5, hopefully not. Yeah, so this is Tekken 8. This is how they are teasing it, and immediately after this, the Game Awards tweeted out that exact image saying, get ready. So my assumption is they're going to be announcing Tekken 8. We're going to get a full trailer at the Game Awards.
Oh, cool. So Tekken 8 is going to be the best fighting game of all time in 2024. Good to know.
Yeah.
Fighting game of the year.
Well, that was,
Good to know.
that's probably going to be December 2022. It'll either be that or, I took it as we're going to get, we're not ready to announce it now, but seeing as how it came right after the trailer for the Tekken World Tour Finals in February, that's when you can expect to hear, even if you get an official announcement, that will probably be when we get the first juicy look at if it's Tekken 8 or Tekken Tag 3 or whatever it is. But yeah, they're saying watch us in February without outright saying.
Well, I don't think that's it. I think the Game Awards tweet leads me to believe that they are doing to Tekken what they did to Mortal Kombat. Right. So if you don't recall, Mortal Kombat, like NRS had a very set schedule where they were releasing Mortal Kombat 10 or Injustice, Mortal Kombat 10, Injustice 2. And then the year that Mortal Kombat 11 was supposed to be announced at E3, no Mortal Kombat 11. However, Mortal Kombat 11 at the Game Awards. I think this is the same thing. And I think this is the only way that they were able to work something out with the Game Awards that Harada and Michael Murray were happy with, where it's like, let us at least tease it because we have to show something. We can't let these people just hanging out to dry. Let us get this tease, and then you can have the full trailer at the Game Awards. That's what I'm thinking.
They want to be EVO so bad.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense to me to tease something just 4 months earlier. That it feels like, okay, you might see something at I don't think. Well, you're not going to get me to pay up. But I would if I was still going to be on the show. I feel like EVO was always going to get something. Tekken World Tour was always going to get the first juicy bite. Game Awards might be something in between, maybe. Or maybe it's just a little bit of promotion. Because that's really the only new game announcement we got. Everything else was additions of things that were already announced when we talked about Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear Strive. That's the only one where it's big AAA new game. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be at Game Awards.
Let's bet an imaginary pizza on it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Game Awards, because right now we're at the end of Q3, starting on Q4. This is the perfect time for people to start talking about new games. So like, it really makes sense to me to see, like, especially if they don't have any more news for the rest of the year. Like, this is when you have to announce something before the end of Q4, because going into Q4, that's when everyone spends up their Christmas budgets and everything like that. You have to get them excited, especially if you have nothing to announce by the end of Q4, which would be December. And like, what, Game Awards is next year, March, right?
Not
December.
Sure. It's December this year.
Yeah, then that makes sense to me. That makes sense
Same.
to me for rollout schedules and production schedule and marketing. This would be the perfect time to do it if you did need to make a December announcement. That is 100% on schedule. The issue that I have with it is, why are you saving it for the Game Awards? And the answer is because casuals, because they want to get it to the biggest audience possible, and E3 is dead. So
yeah, that point of view, that will get way more eyes on it than Tekken World Tour Finals will.
Yeah.
But
so
anyway,
it makes sense to me, but speculation, all speculation.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me too. Also, I wanted to clear something up. Blue, Street Fighter 6 is in the RE engine, unfortunately. So it might be that Tekken 8 is going to be our first fighting game in Unreal Engine 5. If it's Unreal Engine 5, right? I'm pretty sure it is, because the dithering on the shadow is how Unreal Engine 5 handles lighting. So that's my.
I thought Project L was also in Unreal.
Is it in? Oh wait, no, sorry. For whatever reason, I always tend to lump Riot and Epic into one.
Yeah.
Is it in Unreal 5?
I thought it was because I remember seeing inside of some of the early versions some of the particle effects and some of like the lighting inside of there that didn't seem to be possible inside of other versions of like Unreal Engine 4 and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought it was, but I don't have any proof. Like,
yeah, I didn't think about that either. So maybe Project L, depending on when they release, will be the first.
Nothing confirmed. Nothing confirmed as of yet. What we did get confirmed was a new season of the Street Fighter League. And with a little bit of a twist, because we have the Japanese League, which is actually already started. We have the United States League, but now we have a European Street Fighter League, which first time we've really had a sanctioned team competition over in Europe since I forget the name of it, but it was the Gfinity.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, the Gfinity. That was a really cool series, man. I'm sad it didn't do as well as it should have been in my eyes. But shout outs to Europe, man. They've been it's about time that Europe is getting the recognition they deserve, right? Because the European scene has been really a huge presence in the FGC for a while. They've been grinding. We saw it with the Tekken scene when we talked with Spag and with Ice Edge and everybody from the European scene about their exhibition and how they've been growing and getting their stuff together. You're welcome, Olsen. And it's been a very hot topic that in Street Fighter that the European region has been extremely strong to the point where they had even a salty sweet thing about it, which we're not going to get into right now because we don't have time. But it's about time. It's about dang time.
Good for them.
Yes. Now,
speaking of time.
Yes. So let's hurry up here. So I was walking around the venue. I had just gotten my ass beat on stream, very embarrassingly, 3-0, very free in winners finals of my pool. Still made our pools. For Guilty Gear Strive. I then took a minute, sat down, and I just happened to sit down for the Street Fighter 6 panel. And in that Street Fighter 6 panel, they announced this.
I got you. Let's go. We're just getting started.
Tasty Steve is a featured commentator in Street Fighter 6.
Good for him.
You say never heard of him?
No, I said good for him.
Oh, good for him. Sorry.
That would be insane if somehow she had never heard of Tasty Steve.
Speaking of crying, James Chen is the other featured commentator, and now
that was a bad segue.
Hold up. That was not a segue knocking him on crying. Like I said, I'm a big fan of crying. But when this trailer was happening, right after the trailer, they introduced Tasty Steve and James Chen, and James Chen had tears streaming down his face, and rightfully so. This is such a cool moment, right? Now here's something else. Before we go through, I'm gonna rewind just a little bit because this gives us a hint into how this mode is gonna work a little bit better. Take a listen.
They pulled that off. That was crazy. That was a solid win. Give me your takeaways on what we just saw.
There is nothing more amazing than playing a close match with someone down to the wire like that.
Yo, I can't argue with you. What a game.
Now, here's why that's important, what we just heard. The two commentators are interacting with each other. We did not know this before, so that means, much like in the real world, I think in this mode of Street Fighter 6, we are going to get commentary duos. And it'd be really cool if you could pick your commentary duos. This is really neat. I'm probably never going to use this feature, but I think it's badass nonetheless.
I'm glad that it exists. I'm glad that Will It Kill is now canon.
Yep.
I'm glad to see James get this opportunity. Steve as well. They've both been grinding so hard to get those opportunities. Vicious and Aru as well.
Yeah. And Tasty Steve on the panel said that he asked the producers if he was canon to Street Fighter 6, and they said yes. And apparently, he lost the shit. So that's really cool. So congrats to the both of them. I can't even
imagine how happy that made him.
Yeah,
I would love if you could somehow get international duos. Like if you could pair James and Aru and have them both like it's Tekken where they're just both talking in their own language and they understand each other completely.
That would be sick. Speaking of Aru, by the way, Aru at the arena finals got to introduce the reveal for Street Fighter 6, and that was the hypest thing I think I have ever experienced.
I've never seen anyone introduce a segment like that, by the way.
It was amazing.
I felt thoroughly like I was not allowed to be watching that. That's how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
It felt illegal for me to be watching.
If only Capcom Germany had gotten time zones right. Because they tweeted out, they released stuff early. It was on Twitter about 24 hours early. But if you did not watch, if you did not pay attention to that segment of Twitter, you may have been surprised by what you saw after the finals on Sunday for Street Fighter. And here is what they have.
Oh, wait. Is this the wrong trailer? Yep.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, I managed to avoid all those spoilers too, Olsen. I think it's just because we were in that arena all day. But there she is.
It's me! I'm in Street Fighter 6!
Also canon to Street Fighter 6 is the purple Sharpie.
It's really funny. The first time I'm actually talking about it, I literally have my hair out, not in braids, and my voice is gone. But usually I look and sound very similar to this.
Yeah, so we got a PlayStation blog post, and we got a little bit of background on Kimberly, and she is a self-invited Guy, apprentice of Guy. So she just kind of showed up and was like, Guy, teach me this shit. Jerk, and he did. So she is a Bushinryu fighter, so a ninja. And she uses a lot of 80s. She's a big fan of the 80s culture, so she uses a lot of 80s culture hits, like her cassette player, spray paint, all that other fun stuff. So she is a character that is full personality, and I can't wait to see more. And then
1,000 voices cried out in ecstasy.
I'll tell you when they started crying out. Wait. Right there.
Yep. No shoes. Yep.
You know, I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying they exist. But the design looks so good.
Yeah, she looks really good.
Like, oh man.
So, Jury is going to be more like her Street Fighter V version. However, in Street Fighter V, she has to charge stocks of for her moves to come out. In this, she can always do every move. However, if she charges them, it's a stronger version of those moves, and they show in this trailer. Like, you're able to combo in and out of them if you have them charged up. She has Feng Shui engine. And this super is from Street Fighter 4. This is her Street Fighter 4 Ultra 2, I believe.
Goodness.
So
10,000 voices just cried out in ecstasy right there.
Yeah.
And only one of us is allowed to do the killing.
And then she posts URL on her timeline because it's modern Street Fighter.
I'm surprised she showed the bottom of her feet for free.
To get more,
I'm
go to her
still
OnlyFans.
surprised.
I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like whatever you feel about the art design and art direction of Street Fighter 6, I feel like they're being far more successful in achieving what they want to do in this early part than they were with the direction of Street Fighter 5.
100%.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and this is something we've talked about here. It feels like everything that they're showing for Street Fighter 6 is a lot more intentional and a lot more thought out than anything that we saw for Street Fighter 5 pre-release and post-release, to be honest.
5, there was a lot of leaks. There were a lot of leaks for 5. And a lot of the leaks came at a point in time when the graphics weren't even ready. Like, everybody remembers Banana Ken and how much that damaged the game. Oh, wait, that was MVCI.
Well, Banana Ken was...
Banana Ken
was still... Yeah. That was very much on release.
Yeah, MVCI was the one that had
then never mind.
that they showed a lot of gameplay that didn't look very good. And then the game came out and it looked marginally better. I do want to say one thing before we move on to our final trailer here, and I'll promise to make this short. I stood in line for an hour and a half, and I got to play one game of Street Fighter 6. And it was very funny because I was by myself, and all of a sudden, I'm a quarter of the way out, and they're like, oh, this person's by themselves too. You're by yourself, play them. I was like, great. And I was excited to try out a bunch of stuff. I was excited to really try everything, but the person I was playing with was not interested in trying nothing. They just wanted to play the game, which is perfectly fine. And they had fun. I had fun. It was great. They're way more into Street Fighter than I am. Before we walked up to play, they were like, "Oh, so what character are you playing?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm just gonna play Ryu." He's like, "Oh, who are you playing 5?" I was like, "I play Karen." He's like, "Oh, well, Jamie is a Bajikwan fighter, and his inspiration are Yun and Yang, and they're Bajikwan fighters too. And Karen has hints of." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'm still gonna play Ryu though." But shout out to them. They're super hype about the game. The game, I think it's because of unfamiliarity and like a lack of hands-on. It did feel a little bit stiff. So that's why I think it's just unfamiliarity. But the game looks great in motion. It's super fun. Everything feels good. Like, it feels good to press buttons. It feels good to get a parry. It feels good to do the drive impact. It feels good to do everything in that game. It's really cool. And even like with the very, very minimal time I got with it, I am very optimistic about what we're going to see in the future for Street Fighter 6. So big ups to Capcom for having a demo build of it there. I'm excited. I wish I could have played it more, but 1.5 hours in line is all I could muster.
It feels like they're going more for the Street Fighter 4 art direction than they are the Street Fighter 5 very, very realistic art direction. They're just trying to have fun with it. And I think that's a lot more visible inside of every single trailer we've seen for the game so far. And I think that's also why a lot of people are having more fun with the engagement as well. It looks like it's just here for fun.
Yeah, and something that I don't think I've ever noticed until I played it myself is that the game is very colorful, but it's not. It's colorful when meaningful things happen, right? Like, because at its like neutral, things look great. However, they're very like it feels very monochromatic. Not necessarily monochromatic. That's not what I mean. But it feels like every old Street Fighter. However, as soon as you get a parry, you get splashes of color. As soon as you get like a drive impact or an EX move, you get splashes of color everywhere. It looks so fucking cool. So, and I think it's hard to get used to in the sense that it changes so much when meaningful things happen. However, it's so cool even to just watch, right? Because when something meaningful happens, you get this giant splash of color on the screen. It's a huge hint. That's like, oh, this is something that's huge. As soon as you get a perfect parry, blues and purples are all across the screen. If you get a drive impact counter, so drive impact is like the focus attack of Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 6, sorry. If you get a counter hit with it, you get a huge crumple and you get a huge combo for damage. When you do get that counter hit with it, giant splashes of whatever your character's colors are show up on the screen, and then it all goes back into the character you're beating up. It's crazy. It looks so cool. In motion, that game is unbelievable. I cannot wait to see where it comes. The RE engine, they're finally using it, and they're using it very well. It feels very responsive. I don't know what kind of monitors we were playing on, but I didn't feel like I was being hindered by monitors or controllers or anything like that. So I'm excited. I just wanted to dive into that for a little bit because I played it Street Fighter 6. I can't believe it. We did it. We did it, Reddit. All right. We got one final thing, and then we'll let Steve have the floor. And then one more, like the real final thing. The final. The last game, and much like all the other tournaments, it ran long. I think we were in that arena until I was in that arena until 1 a.m. watching the end of Guilty Gear. But right before Top 8, they announced some stuff. But even before then, at the panel, they revealed the roadmap for the future of Guilty Gear Strive. And this is what it is. There it is. I just clicked the wrong button. Sorry. I'm still getting used to this controller. So summer 2022, a new character is going to get announced. Additional colors. Reducing input delay on the PlayStation 5 version, which is huge. Apparently, they got it to 4K 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5 is like 1 frame off of 1080p 60 frames per second on PC.
So
wow,
that's giant.
If you do the basic version of Steam, like 60 frames, or 60 hertz, excuse me, PS4 Pro and PS5, they're all pretty much parity between those three versions. So PS4 is now the slowest version as opposed to PS5.
Yep.
All of those are about 3 frames.
Yeah.
So it's a marked improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with this, they also reduced the dreaded connection time at the beginning of launching Guilty Gear, which is awful. Like it feels like I'm in an old CRT TV coming home from elementary school, where like I boot it up and then I go do something else while it loads up. And then the big thing is the crossplay beta. They announced that they're going to have a crossplay beta in the fall, and they're hoping to release the crossplay update immediately after that beta, if that beta is successful. So be on the lookout for that. Then let's get to the arena finals, because we got to get to it. Another significant reaction from the crowd. Daisuke came out. They had the community not the community manager. They had another producer for Guilty Gear Strive come out. They announced the trailer, and this was the trailer.
Is it my turn?
Yes! I love them.
Bridget is back.
I love this trailer. The fact that I love cuts like that with the walk animation and the background changing. I'm a big fan.
Finally, I can play Skullgirls and Strive.
I don't like.
She looks so cool. She looks absolutely awesome.
Oh, spinning out already?
Look.
That command grab is so
You're
annoying.
gonna miss the good part. Mentally,
And super important fact here is that there was a lot of like this character is very controversial in the sense that like when they were released, they were essentially like probably the first trans character in a fighting game, and in Strive they finally nailed it down and they use she/her pronouns. So that was pretty cool, and that caused a lot of controversy about a lot of shitty people. And the big reveal was that it came out yesterday, or I'm sorry, not yesterday. It came out on Monday.
Yep. Day after Evo.
Yep, and I got to play it, and it was super fun, and I'm a fan. Bridget, it's been really fun.
She's great. That's exactly who I play in Plus R. I'm very happy that she's inside the game. I'm very happy that there's representation. For a very long time, before I even came out as like openly bisexual, I identified with the idea that Bridget was forced into a certain gender role that wasn't 100%, what they vibed with, but they grew into understanding who they were and represented that. And I feel like this representation of self is just something so inspiring that I hope that younger people who are still experiencing their sexuality and their gender expression hopefully find courage and strength inside of that. And I hope a lot of people that said really rude and nasty things about Bridget's expression and gender identity genuinely burn. I really do, because it's a beautiful thing to see, especially inside of a fighting game in a genre that's not always been so open to it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, victims of our own success here, the YouTube video of the arena reaction that we got is about to hit 400,000 views. And moderating those comment sections has been very difficult. Olsen has been doing a lot of it. I've been doing a lot of it. It's been a ride. Also, I just want to mention that we are striving for 1,000 YouTube subscribers, and as of last week, we were about 900 away. Now we're about 450 away, thanks to EVO. So go subscribe to our YouTube, youtube.com/BestofVShow.
Like so many people won, so many people gained so much out of that story. To a much lesser degree, someone else who gained from that is Hungry Clicker, because they are notorious for putting out amazing, like they put out art for pretty much every single character that won EVO. And there's a theory going around because they drew a few weeks ago, they drew a set of 4 Strive characters in a row, the first of which being Bridget, and the next 3 being people who were not in Strive. So there's a thought that maybe they know something. Maybe, who knows? That's fun to watch.
All right, somebody in the chat typed "Hungry Clickers" an inside job, and I think that's funny. Now, the big final announcement, Rick came out to cheers and applause, by the way. So big ups to Rick on a successful event. Amazing. Very well received, very well deserved. Good reception. They announced something that I honestly had forgotten about, and it was EVO Japan 2023. And we got some details on that. It is taking place March 31st through April 2nd at the Tokyo Big Site in Ariake, Tokyo. And the announced games so far are Guilty Gear Strive, King of Fighters 15, Street Fighter 5, and Tekken 7, with other titles to be announced this fall. So all of your usual suspects will be there, and more. So big ups to Rick. The new logo for EVO Japan looks great. The trailer looked great. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna see what we can do if we can have a presence out there. We'll see what happens.
The question is, will anyone have a presence out there? Because as of this moment,
Yep, we cannot.
you can't go to Japan as a regular tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Pokimane will fix that for us. So
yeah. I also wanted to point out this one quick thing here. Unfortunately, this picture is awful. But one thing that was really cool about this EVO is we got to meet Blue, who is now one of our Best of High producers, and we got to meet PB Tuft, who's another Best of High producer. And we all hung out a little bit at the arena finals, and here's us. So very left is Blue. Right next to Blue is Olsen. Those two people in the back, I don't know who they are, but they photobombed us, I think. Next to me is PB Tuft, and then the fat ass on the right is me. So big ups to Blue, big ups to PB Tuft. It was awesome meeting you guys. Hopefully we'll get to meet more of you soon down the line as events keep happening. Now, I believe this covers everything except the dreaded moment.
At last, the end is near.
Yeah, I was going to go free at last. Free at last. Oh, man. All right. I promised. I have a goal. I have two goals. One, don't cry. Two,
Throw those out the window.
don't go into blubbering father mode. And I don't know how well I'm going to stick to those. You see a mess behind me. On top of having a newborn son, we're moving in 3 days.
Wow.
So there is a whole lot of change going on in my life. And because of that change, I need to reprioritize what I do. I love the FGC. I love fighting games. I love being a part of this. And I don't say this lightly. It's not something that I'm walking away from because I'm bored. It's not something I'm walking away from because I don't like it or anything like that. It's simply because I love fighting games just as much as I did 2 years ago, just as much as I did 8 years ago when I started thinking, oh, hey, I need I'm making a schedule for myself so I can track what I want to watch at NCR 2014. Let me put this on Reddit and see if it helps anyone else. And I'm very, very, like I said earlier, I don't do anything that no one else can do better. My writing is, I'm proud of it, but there are better writers out there. There are tons of people who could make better looking schedules, gather information better than I could. I didn't get to where I am because I was the best. I got to where I am because I saw something that needed to be done and I did it. And I hope that some of you do that as well. If you're thinking that there's some area where the fighting game community is lacking, or whatever community you wish to join or be a part of, there's probably plenty of other people who are thinking the same thing. And the best thing you can do is to be that change. I did this because I'm not bringing people into fighting games through my play. God, no. God, no. No one's going to watch me and my terrible Ken and think, man, that looks awesome. But if I can help guide other people to the passion that I have for this community, then I've done my job. Like I said, I haven't found anything, I don't love this community any less than I did before. I don't love this show any less than I had before. But when I saw Lil Ace Jack for the first time, everything else just kind of fell by the wayside. He's still in the hospital. He is fighting so damn hard. He's killing it right now. And just watching him fight and unfairly having to, he doesn't deserve to be born 7 weeks early and not be able to breathe on his own quite yet, although he's getting there. But I'm making you cry, and I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay, Steve. We love you.
But yeah, that little guy, I fell in love from the jump. Like, I loved him when I knew he existed, and I loved him so much more than I ever thought I could when I saw him for the first time. And he needs me. He needs Team Ace. He needs Ace King. He needs Ace Queen. He needs the entire royal family. So that's where my attention's going to be for a while. I made up the fighting game retirement theorem a few years ago. If the likelihood of you staying retired is inversely proportional to how much attention you give your retirement, and I've been giving my retirement a whole lot of attention because I don't want to be done. Maybe I come back and it's not as Ace King offsuit, the guy who's on a podcast and putting out schedules for everything. Maybe it's just me going to a local every now and again because I don't want this to be over. But the truth is, I got to go home and be a family man. I want to go home and be a family man. And Sharpie, Alon, I am so grateful to both of you for being part of this, for keeping me motivated to be here and put on the best show I could. You both are so much more amazing than you give yourselves credit for. I want to thank John. I want to thank Donka. I especially want to thank Alon or Efren. I want to thank you too, Alon. But Efren,
I see how it is. It's fine.
He's the one who got me. He called me up, and he's on one episode. It was either Justin or Ricky were supposed to be on, and they backed out last minute. Like, hey, Steve, can you come on and do a panel? And I was like, sure. And they couldn't get rid of me ever since. I am gonna miss this. I'm gonna miss this so much. But like I said, there's gonna be others who can do what I do way better than I could, carry that ball farther, bring more people into the fold. And maybe it's someone in the chat, maybe it's someone else. But just be kind to each other, because even more than fighting games, we are a family. And sorry.
We love you,
I've made lifetime friends here through these silly little games that we get mad over. I've been touched by people who have reached me in my lowest point, and I've been able to help people who've been dealing with their lowest points. And I just hope that everyone here continues to do that and be there for each other in some way, shape, or form. And I know y'all are tired of listening to me, so I'm going to shut up. But I love all of you. thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Steve, much like you said, about how Sharpie and I don't give ourselves enough credit. Thank you, Blue. I'll get to that in just a second. You also don't give enough credit yourself because you have been the backbone of this show for way longer than you care to admit. So, on behalf of everybody who is watching, thank you for all that you do. On behalf of the FGC, thank you for all that you do. And I have bad news for you. Christ DeLorean in the chat blocked your retirement, so you can't leave.
Dang it! It's like Ric Flair. We had the whole build up, and like 2 days later, like, oh, we got to do more stuff. Oh man,
yeah. But thank you, Blue, for that subscription. Much appreciated, and thank you for all your work, Steve
and Alon. I am so excited to see where you take this show because you've been busting your ass. You and Olsen and Blue and Tuft and everybody. I might be stream monstering, but I'm still going to be there in some way, watching you take this to heights unknown.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Don't put your expectations too high.
I'm putting them sky high.
Then we're all screwed. All right. Well, before we sign off, first of all, thank you everybody for watching. Again, thank you, Steve, for all of your dedicated years of service to the FGC. I think I wrote a tweet about it. I don't think the FGC would be nearly as accessible as it is now without your adept hand at creating amazing spreadsheets and basically doing all the hard work that people should be doing on their own, but doing it for them. So,
and by the way, I'll probably pin it at some point. I don't know. I've got my son there now. I'm probably not going to take him down, but I did tweet out templates and the templates that I've used. So if you go through my timeline, you'll be able to take that and do what you will with it.
The torch has been passed. And
we'll have it in the description underneath this cast, obviously.
100%. Before we say goodbye, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been Best of 5. BestofVShow.com to follow all of our socials. People on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and all that. We're almost at 1,000. Everybody else listening on the podcast version of this, thanks for listening. Do the follow thing. Yeah, Sharpie, thank you so much for joining us on this very special occasion. I'm so happy you got to join us for this. Do you have any final thoughts?
I'm sorry.
Play games you love and cherish those around you because time is so short. It matters. It really does. I'm so
100%.
proud of you, Steve, for taking time to be with your family who is so important to you. And I hope you know that your FGC family will always be here supporting you and rooting you on. And I'm going to be praying for your little baby boy because he's a fighter just like his dad and his mom.
Oh, he's got beautiful hair, unlike me. So
give him time. Give him time.
Luscious locks. Luscious locks.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. We're going to hit the raid button here. We're going to go raid Katana Prime because Katana Prime is great, and they gave us a little bit of time. This has been another episode of Best of 5. The show will forever be changed thanks to you, Steve, and thanks to you, Sharpie. However, we're still keeping going. I'm the second to last one to join, and I'm still riding this baby all the way to hell.
You're taking it to the top, man.
Thanks, everybody, for joining. Sharpie, please say your thing.
Every real podcast has a sign-off phrase, bitches.
And Steve, for the final time.
Goodbye, Canada.